We recently noticed that we had an interior wall where the bottom half-inch to inch of the wall was beginning to flake and kind of corrode a little bit. And we became a little bit more worried when realizing that that wall was also shared with our shower on the other side of that wall. We've also had some instances in 2020 where I had multiple sinus infections, and my son, who is 12, had multiple eye infections, and this is something that has never occurred with us before. So visiting our pediatrician, he recommended that we get our house checked for mold. We Googled mold treatment and mold remedy people in the Portland area, and Rescom came up as the #1 recommendation. We called and got a call back within 15 minutes. They've been great to work with, very communicative, open to telling us what could happen and then versus what did happen. Very on time, showed up exactly when they said they were going to, very organized. The staff was very courteous and very informative and let us know the process along the way. Mold is a really scary word that you never want to hear when dealing with your home. So finding out that it was in fact mold and how they were going to remedy it and how they were going to make sure that our family was safe was of the utmost importance. Stuck to the timeline and did everything that they said they were going to do, and it got alleviated and taken care of within 7 days of their first visit, with very little impact on us and our home and our safety during that time. So what the issue was in our home is an 80-year-old home, and the issue was something that has been going on long before we bought the house 4 years ago. There was a shower pan leak, also covered up by 4 layers of shower tile, which was a surprise to all of us as each layer continued to come off. It was like, and there's another layer of tile, which just made the moisture get trapped. And unfortunately, the water and moisture had no place to go except for into our wall cavity. But they came in and they took care of it, and they took out all of the wall that had been damaged, and the tile got removed. And then also, they did a whole home fog on our property, which allowed us to sleep a little bit better at night, knowing that not only had the mold been taken care of at the immediate site, but it had also been remedied throughout the air in our entire home, which was a couple hour process, but well worth it. It allowed us to come back into our home knowing that we were bringing our family and our children and our dogs back into a safe environment where we literally felt like we could breathe easier. Yeah. So when the mold remediation people were here, the wall that was in question and where the mold was growing was in actually a major thoroughfare of our home, where it's a main hallway that we all travel through every day. So when they were here, we worked with them to figure out what access to rooms that we absolutely need to have, that they were able to accommodate with their equipment to make sure that the air that they were working with and the mold that they were working with was 100% contained. So they were really great. It was an interesting apparatus that was up in our hallway for a few days, but it actually made us feel really safe and secure because you could tell that it had been confined really well and quarantined really well, so that the treatment that they were doing wasn't going to get into more of our home than it had already done. So we had access to every room that we needed except for the bathroom, which they were working in, and then the guest room that was attached, which was great. We were able to have access to every other room in our home. And they ran their equipment, and it didn't disrupt our time or our day or anything like that, or our evenings. And every single time they had an update, they would come and they would talk to us about it and let us know, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, this is what we would recommend. And obviously every single time we would take their recommendations. They were really educated. They knew really how it was going to impact us, not even just short term, but also long term, wanting to make sure that the whatever it was going to get fixed immediately, which is really great. But we'll come out and say, okay, well, this is what we found, this is what we're going to do next. And then as far as cost goes, We had someone come in and give us a quote on what they thought it would be. Every single time that was ever going to be above that quote, even by $1, they would make sure that they would let us know and make sure that they had approval from us to continue doing the work. So those 4 layers of tile cost us a little bit more, but it was worth every penny, because they would come out and be like, hey, we have to do another layer. This is what it could come out to, but it could be then this as well. We don't know until we open it up, but it could be $50 more, it could be $100 more. And they constantly would come out and inform us of that and make sure that we had the go ahead, so that we weren't surprised at the end by a bill that was quite a bit higher than maybe what the initial quote had been. So super courteous, super professional, super educated, and had a lot of know-how. And like I said, mold is not a word you ever want to hear as a homeowner, but they made the process so easy and so just stress-free for us, as much as it possibly could have, given the fact that all the timelines were met, and they showed up when they said they were going to show up. They were so customer service focused. There was at one point 3 of their vans in our driveway, because they wanted to get more people in to get an opinion about something that maybe they hadn't seen before. Our house is built on a slab, which is not very common in the Pacific Northwest. So they had some other obstacles with that, but they called in people and they got advice from partners to make sure that they were doing the right things before they moved forward. Overall, I would 100% recommend them for any of those kind of needs that unfortunately homeowners do come across sometimes, especially in older homes here in the Pacific Northwest. I would 100% recommend them for any of that service.